Hello and welcome to The Print. I'm Snehesh Alex Philip. Well, October 7, next month, is going to mark 1 year of the deadly attack that the Hamas launched against Israel, which has now led to a conflict with dangers of it widening up. And to discuss this further, the situation in Israel and in the region as a whole, I have with me Oshrit Birvadker. She is the senior fellow at JISS, which is the Jerusalem Institute of Strategy and Security, and she's also a foreign policy expert who writes for The Print. Thank you so much for joining here at The Print. Welcome to India. Uh, my first question to you, now that the situation, what do you feel about the current situation with what is happening with the Hezbollah? Do you think that there would actually be a ground offensive in Lebanon?
Well, I think both sides will try to avoid it. I think Israelis will definitely try to avoid this situation, but they will prepare for the escalation of such a scenario. We just heard there's no doubt we're heading this way. Uh, Yesterday we heard the chief of staff of the IDF announce that they are preparing for a ground operation in Lebanon. They're
Yeah.
also shifting to reserve the brigades to the northern border. So we're definitely going there. The cabinet war held a meeting yesterday. So we definitely see an escalation. I think this operation, when it comes to the north, started a week ago with devastating results for Hezbollah. We were able to target their leadership. We were able to target also damage their capabilities, their fire capabilities. So in many ways, I think that if we look at it, if we really want to find a solution to the missile threat, you can't just get it by Air Force alone. Even though both sides will definitely try to prevent this escalation, even Hezbollah and Iran will want to prevent that. But Israelis, if you look at their policies and the military policies, most of the time prevent and avoiding such of ground operation. They don't want to cause on any loss of life, loss of soldiers. As a country, we're still very much traumatized from that. We lost so many people, so we will definitely try to prevent that. But if you look at what Israel is doing now, Israel is trying to shift the military equation in the north. Uh, for almost 11 months, they were just responsive to what Hezbollah was doing, to Hezbollah's attack. And just a week ago, they moved to the offensive and definitely took the initiative.
You mentioned, you rightly mentioned the fact that Israel may not want to go in for an invasion by foot into Lebanon, but that's something that the as you mentioned, the Israeli chief of defense staff has spoken about. But don't you think this would lead to a larger escalation in the region? With more countries getting involved in this particular conflict, and you already have the U.S. and the French who have come out with a peace plan, or who come out with a truce plan. They want to call for cessation of operations.
So, what is this fear of escalation? I'm asking you. Because before any peace, we must have war. That is how the world operates. This is histories are evidence. So, Israel wants peace. We want peace to happen. We want to bring peace to the Middle East. We want to bring peace to the other citizens of the Middle East. The Arab living in the Middle East are basically being, captive of these terrorist organizations. So, in order to bring these peace that everybody is talking about, we must start with uprooting this terrorist organization's activity, and we must be a little bit more realistic when we look at the situation. The reason these terrorist organizations are the one who are undermining the stability in the region, not the other way around. So Israel just reacts to this because it has no other choice. That's what we are doing. And you mentioned France, by the way, and I found it funny because we heard about this ceasefire call from France, from President of France Macron, but 11 months. Rockets were being shot towards the northern side of Israel, targeting Israeli civilians. I don't know where was France when supporting this ceasefire intensively, like like France is doing now. So I'm asking what is happening. This hypocrisy, I find it quite ridiculous, and I found this call for ceasefire, in many ways, uh, hypocrite. I don't know. I would say even slightly anti-Semitic in that sense, because look at the situation. It's okay to for a Jew to be killed, but it's not okay that the Jews will fight back. This concept of the submissive Jew, the word must get used to it, that it's gone. We are the one who will determine what we're going to do, what will be our future move. And if we're being targeted, we will fight back. We have all the right to do so. I found it quite funny that you mentioned President Macron, because he was, we actually, Ibrahim Akil, that got killed last week, he was responsible for the death of 58 French troop soldiers who was definitely got killed in Beirut in 41 years ago. So in many ways, I feel like Macron should thank us and not call and be furious about the Israeli attack in Lebanon. Of course, we must pursue peace and find a resolution for this conflict, but must do it in the right way and not support or give more power to these terrorist organizations.
Those were some very strong and bold statements made by you. I may or may not agree with you completely, but I can tell you that I agree to a large extent. But you talked about, the right solution, to this whole issue. What, according to you, is the right solution then?
Well, there is no right solution. Right solution is to get into agreement with both sides. Eventually, we know that this is the how we're going to end the conflict. The conflict will not end just by military operation, but in order to get the right agreement or the necessary agreement that will be beneficial for the stability of the region, we have to put pressure by using military power. This is required. And as is for now, we tried to get into some agreements with Hezbollah. Look at it. It's been 11 months. 11 months that Hezbollah continuously firing rockets towards Israel,
Yeah.
and using the fact that Israel is occupied in Gaza, in the war in Gaza. So what else? We can't allow this situation to happen, and also we have to bring back all these citizens that had to move away from their homes, and this is part of our strategy. We need to find solution for all these people, and that's what the Israeli government is looking for now.
So, interesting that you mentioned about the Israeli government. So, how much public support is really there for the president within Israel? Because if you go by reports from Israel, it suggests that he's not really that popular, right?
Well, it's a very complicated question, I would say, because it's true. Last few weeks, we saw there were very large protests in Israel. Um, blaming Netanyahu for not doing much for releasing the hostages from Hamas captivity. And if you look at it, what happened since October 7th till now, so definitely the Hamas attack damaged Netanyahu's image, not damaged Netanyahu's popularity. But if we look what happened during the year, I just read the recent polls and published in a left-wing media platform, opinion polls, and they suggest that they points that actually the Likud party strengthened its power. Today, I think they're talking about 25 seats, while Benny Gantz's party is about to get 21. A Lapid party is something around 50. So you can see that what the Likud party was able to do in 1 year. Okay, this is remarkable. If we talk about politics, and we should give them credit for that because they're in the politics business, uh, achieving these kind of remarkable victory, I would say, in terms of the public eye, this is it's huge. We can't, especially when we're looking about how much pressure we have internationally on Israel, how much pressure he had to endure from within the society, from different faction of society, and still, after October 7th, people were the first thought that came to their mind is that Netanyahu is gone. But look, he's still here. All right. He's still here. And we forget, and maybe the international media don't mention it quite often, but Netanyahu is in power because of he has a strong base. They still support him. Maybe we could see a slight change after October 7th, but these voices maybe after 1 year still support Netanyahu.
Okay. Well, that's a perspective, interesting perspective we have there. Uh, so, it's going to be October 7th soon, right? It's going to be 1 year. Do you really think Israel has gone ahead and achieved what it wanted to achieve when they started off this, or is this going to be a very prolonged war? In my personal opinion, when Israel started off with the operation, Israel was completely justified in the operation. But now, 1 year later, this operation has now become more of a humanitarian crisis. The fact that a number of civilians killed on the other side in Gaza, even your closest ally, the US, has been forced to take what you call a centrist position at times.
Where there's election in
Well,
November, that's also
yes, and we'll
affecting.
discuss about that too. So, do you think that Israel has really achieved, or is this going to be just a prolonged?
I think that if we look at the war, and Israel, after 1 year, was able to achieve not fully its three major goals in Gaza, which one of them bring the hostages back home. We still have
Yeah.
97 hostages there in Gaza, in the dungeons of Gaza, and unfortunately, according to some estimation, half of them are not probably not alive. So we were not able to achieve that fully. Second thing is, you know. Damage Hamas military capabilities. We're not able to do that yet. The third thing is the fact that Gaza is still a security threat to Israel, even after 1 year. So if we look at each of these categories, we were able to get some kind of success in each of these categories. If we look at the hostages, we were able to bring back some hostages in very heroic operation of the IDF, which I think was very important to bring this pride back to Israeli homes, to Israeli army, and to awaken this sense of nationalist pride that we were missing. And I think that was very important. Second thing, when it comes to damaging Hamas power capability, military capabilities, we definitely did a really, really good job, especially when we talk about our presence in Rafah. Uh, that's the way to do it, and the way we were handling this refugees camp, we were able to destroy Hamas infrastructure, terrorist infrastructure, which is crucial for ending the war. So we're able to do that. And if you look at I think the very basic, the fact as a citizens of the south of Israel, I can say that the fact that the soldiers are now in Gaza, we're able to leave peacefully. Uh, than we were able to live 6 months back, because
Okay.
the soldiers went. Now we don't need to seek a shelter every minute. We're still getting rockets being fired from Gaza once in a while, but the fact
Not
that
at the pace at
not
which
at the
it used
pace
to.
that
Yeah.
we were supposed to, and even the citizens of Tel Aviv, all of that, we're able to live normal lives. So we got the sense of safety back because the soldiers are fighting in Gaza. That's it. So in many ways, this is a success. But the
Okay.
question that we need to ask, what will happen after?
Exactly.
That's the question.
So, like as a kid, when I grew up, I used to read these spy novels, and I used to read stories and hear stories about spy organizations, and Mossad and Israel was something that was always known for. For example, let's say the Munich
Yeah.
film that came out, and then multiple such operations that the Israelis have carried out over a period of time, which really made Israel, you would say, famous or infamous, whatever, whichever side of perspective, whichever side you're on. And in the recent past, the Israelis have carried out two spectacular operations. One in which the Israelis took out the Hamas political chief in Iran. You know, there's still about doubts about how did they actually manage to do it. And then the very recent one in which
The pagers,
pages,
of
right,
course.
multiple pages suddenly blew off in Lebanon, hitting the Hezbollah cadres. So, in your sense, Do you think that this is the policy that Israel should focus more on, rather than this never-ending war kind of a situation that is now snowballing? So first it was, you had it with Gaza. Now it is stretching on to Lebanon. There would be more countries involved.
Hmm.
Shouldn't Israel go back to what it is really known for?
Well, these kind of operation, they are there to serve a certain goal. But you really, and they're very, they're remarkable. We all saw the word of being very surprised from Israeli intelligence capabilities. In many ways, it helped us to bring back our trust in our systems, in our military capability, in our intelligence capability after October 7th failure. But uh, after that, if you are managing a war, you can't, there's no alternative than being on the ground. You can get information, intelligence. Many of the intelligence that we got were the hostages locations. We got it from the Hamas soldiers on the ground that being interrogated in there, or brought to
Brought
Israel,
back, yeah.
back to Israel. So we got the information from there. This is priceless. Can end the war, because the more hostages will release, then maybe we'll have more leverage to end the war. So I think that, of course, Israel as a country, as is trying to avoid any harm, and cause any harm to like civilian. But I believe that uh, right now, considering this situation, the fact that Israel is running a war not only with Gaza, not only with Hezbollah in Lebanon, we are running a multi-front war. Missiles are being fired every day, even today, from Iraq, from Yemen, from So this is important. We are alone in many ways. Of course, we have U.S. backing us, but we're alone in this war. And if you have to do certain things, this is a war situation. War is, I said previously, is a barbaric game. We're trying to avoid harming the civil society, but if this is part of it, that's the game. That's the game.
Well,
And unfortunately, it's very tragic, because we are running this war with the terrorist organizations that they care less about their own civilians, and they're using them as human shield. So, and knowing that, we're still trying to avoid. Okay, so still, of course, there is no alternative than being on the ground. The psychological effect of the warfare is also required. It's also part of the game of being on the ground. It's a different game, and how you can, when you attack, uh, you know, just from by using air force. So it's not always helpful or efficient, because all their leadership will go
yeah.
underground. And how are you going to find them? How are you going to find this terror infrastructure that being covered in civilian areas like school, hospital? You have to be on the ground to get there and to really uproot these activities.
No, I perfectly get your point. The fact is that the answer to terrorism cannot be a soft answer, but at the same time, I really hope that, as I said right in the very beginning, the October 7 attack on Israel was a barbaric attack, the kind of barbarity that was unleashed by the Hamas on the Israeli civilians, women and children, were horrific. But at the same time, now this war is going on. There's a lot of casualties on the other side too. A lot of civilians are
Mm.
died there too. But I hope there's a solution that is found, and that both sides can exist peacefully. But thank you so much, Oshrit,
Thank you.
for speaking to the print. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.